gave this quote from Banksy. Graffiti is one of the few tools you have if you have almost nothing. And even if you don't come up with a picture to cure world poverty, you can make someone smile while they're having a piss.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
He'll fall an eight to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm going to cut it to 5.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Ville Chillin podcast. Today, we're kind of almost continuing on from our Louisville tourism in a way, right? Because we're talking about street art today. So during the Louisville tourism episode, we talked about several art museums and some of the different, attractions you can go to in that respect. But Louisville has a lot of pretty cool street art as well, and history.
Yeah, definitely. Louisville specifically, but also a few of the other cities around the state, which we'll talk about those. But I myself, I've always been a big fan of art, and specifically street art. And Louisville has a lot of that, and I guess that's why I've always been kind of attracted to it.
It's very much an impressionist art, in so many ways, like even the murals, whether you're talking graffiti or, big murals, every artist has their own element that they throw into it, and it has deeper meaning than is on the surface. So it really reminds me of impressionism type art,
Yeah, definitely. Very, conceptual or whatever, whatever you perceive it to be kind of thing, what it means to you. One thing I noticed, really with the Louisville scene, it seems like it really got big after the skate park. After the skate park became a thing, like that, it seems like it really spread throughout the city a lot more.
And that makes sense, at least when we were growing up, those things went hand in hand, graffiti and skating, or just, street art in general and skating, or like the punk scene.
Yes, definitely. And the trains, man. I mean, Louisville has a lot of trains really being, I think it has a lot to do, we talked about it before, a lot to do with the being a coal state or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of trains going back and forth still. And as much as they suck when you're stuck in traffic, it's really cool to look at the art that you're seeing passing by. So,
yeah. For sure. And some of those trains could be from completely different states too,
Right.
They get tagged while they're here, but definitely. Yeah, there are some pretty cool mobile art, really.
Right. And then Spinelli's, around the same time as the skate park was becoming big, that's when Spinelli's, I guess, opened their first store there on Baxter, and they've definitely always been very big advocates on just the scene and things like that, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. There's a lot of history of it here. Some world-known, street artists and everything. So there's even a company we're going to talk about where they just do professional street art, murals or, signs and whatever. But to kick it off, we found this Reddit post that we thought was really interesting. It's a lot of really good discussion. And it starts off, the title is, okay, I'm really getting tired of the graffiti. And this is 12 years ago, so I don't know if that's really relevant, because I think it's all still relevant today. But
which I guess we should preface before we go too much further. We do not advocate illegal.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, so it's talking about graffiti, and we don't advocate for vandalism and things like that. We definitely are not saying, just go tag everything. And that's what this discussion is kind of about. When he says this, when this poster says it, he's talking about just the random tags with no real purpose, just kind of tagging your name randomly, or just, whatever, on trash cans, people's trash cans on private property, and street signs. When you're driving down the highway, you kind of need to read the sign if you need to know where you're going. So things like that, I think, is the main thing that people disagree with. And one response that I wanted to point out here was this guy.
Oh, Banksy is amazing. That's someone who definitely really, I've always been attracted, like I said, to the street art around the city, but I didn't really know what I was looking at. Like, I was a big fan of Shepard Fairey. He did the Obey stickers with Andre the Giant. And I saw a movie called Through the Gift Shop, or Looking Through the Gift Shop, something like that. But it was about Banksy and other street artists and kind of following them around. So, like, this quote, what was it you was about to read? It's awesome.
Yeah, so a poster commented on this Reddit article and gave this quote from Banksy. Graffiti is one of the few tools you have if you have almost nothing. And even if you don't come up with a picture to cure world poverty, you can make someone smile while they're having a piss.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, Banksy's definitely one of the first people that you think of when you think, graffiti and, major street art.
Definitely.
But the guy who posted that in the thread went on to say, I see the post. Not everyone has the money for an Xbox. Try to remember that there are kids out there not receiving the attention they need and have no other available outlets to work out their world perspective. More than likely, the toy amateurs are these 15-year-olds who have found something fun, exciting, free, and most importantly, a way to find some control in their lives and express their feelings.
Which I guess toys are kind of like, toys are, I guess, a term that people use for, like, I guess, newer artists or, just still trying to find their name. Scribbles.
Yeah. So I think that goes a long way. And again, we're not advocating vandalism or illegal street art in any way, but what really kind of intrigued me was the response from the original poster, who said they're tired of seeing graffiti. And he said, I appreciate your perspective, and I honestly do enjoy graffiti pieces when done tastefully. The ones I'm referring to, however, are simply territory markings. They've been there for months, years even. And the person agreed. And someone else down here mentioned, a whole street of trash cans with the tag on it just for no reason. That's the kind of stuff that nobody really wants to see and doesn't do anything good to advocate your name in a good way. If you are an artist, that's not really something you would want to be associated with. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a really, really cool discussion. Again, we've always enjoyed art, and we've always checked out the graffiti anytime we're in, the Highlands, especially. That's where we spent a lot of time. So, and this other responder said, graffiti has and always will be a part of Louisville. Granted, not every piece of art is in congruence to your taste. That is not even the point of most people who are making it. I agree there's a lot of useless tagging going about, but I also know plenty of graffiti artists who have been commissioned to share their work on murals. And we're going to get into that, some murals too, because there are some really, really cool murals around our city. Some of the murals just remind me of Hometown Hero banners.
Right, yeah.
So, and the original poster did respond to that and kind of say the same thing. I'm primarily referring to the tasteless tagging I see on interstate signs. He doesn't recognize them as a piece of art.
I think I saw somebody write Hacktua on the back of one of the highway signs. It was on the WTF Louisville Hood Instagram. Louisville Hood Instagram, I believe.
Of course it was. That makes perfect sense. In recent years, one of the most famous graffiti artists, moving into some of the actual graffiti art, then we're going to talk about some murals and some other stuff. But I thought it was important to kind of start this whole thing off with that discussion. There's a difference between, graffiti art as art and then graffiti art as just senseless tagging and vandalism. There's an important distinction. Unfortunately, every major city has both, but we definitely advocate for the tasteful street art, the legal street art. So yeah, going into the first one.
Otherwise, don't get caught.
Well, and I mean, the first couple ones, as far as graffiti, they do. I guess technically it is vandalism, but there's some really cool art that has come out of it, and it's just worth being recognized, I think, especially the story that goes along with them. Burr, everybody's seen this little guy around. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm just now finding out, I've always been a fan, but I'm just now finding out it's a little bit bug.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know if it was the character's name or the artist's name. Apparently, Burr is the artist's name, and it's a bedbug character. And if anybody has any like real background information on that somehow, that'd be cool. Because just let us know in the comments. But you definitely see it everywhere, all over the city. Lots of bed bugs, I guess, which this is not coming off the way I mean for it to. But one cool story, or I don't know, interesting story that came out of it is back in 2013. So there's a news article here on the Louisville Public Media. Police arrested a man many people suspect to be the mysterious graffiti tagger Burr. The man is accused of, among other things, stealing a batch of T-shirts from the downtown gift shop Regalo. The arrest warrant says the artist claimed the design on the T-shirt was copyrighted. So the design on the T-shirt is the one we were just showing, the little bedbug creature, whatever it is. But it's only speculation at this point. Nobody knows 100% that it was the actual artist, but he claims that, you know, the art's copyrighted, and so that's why he stole the shirts out of the shop, because they were technically selling them illegally since it's not their design, right? And they didn't pay for the design. At least that was the claim.
Some beautiful irony there.
That was the claim, yeah. So the suspect is accused of committing a crime beyond vandalism, but his arrest and the existence of the shirts has raised some questions regarding who owns the tag and whether Regalo can legally sell the shirts. So there's some information here, at least one person's perspective on the copyright laws. Basically, they assert that you have to, as soon as you create a piece of art, it's yours, it's copyrighted, but he says you have to register the copyright.
Which I don't think that's true. I think they're mixing up copyright and trademark, because I don't think, yes, you have to register a trademark to take that to court, but I don't think that's with a copyright. You know, like if you have any kind of proof whatsoever that you created it, then, like I said, that is registered, and that's enough to actually file suit with. You can request like a cease and desist and things like that, which if he wanted to, he could have went that route.
I mean, it's even on our website, copyright as of 2022, because that's when we started it. We probably need to update that date.
Yeah,
I don't know if it matters, but
I'm 90% sure that you don't have to really, file it. It helps. It helps strengthen the case. But if you have enough evidence that you did it before, then...
And obviously he would have enough evidence.
Right.
But then he'd also be admitting to how many counts of...
Yeah, it might be a wash at the end of the day.
Probably not worth it. But you understand his perspective. People are making money off of his art, if that was him, allegedly. And
I guess the store owner's thought process was,
well, and apparently he had tagged the store at one point, so they
weren't just doing it, like
they were like, hey, you're gonna put our design here, then we're gonna take the design. And something down here does say placing the tag on someone else's property does not give that person ownership of the tag. It does give that person ownership of a tagged item. So if you fell asleep in the park and Burr tagged your shirt, you could sell that T-shirt and profit from the tag on it. You could not make copies of it and sell them.
Right. Yeah. Technically, both of them were breaking the law.
Yeah. So, if they wanted to, they could have taken this window out and sold it, essentially.
Oh, no. What, Burr?
No. The store, because they own the window.
Yes.
So they could take that out and sell it because he decided to tag it there, but they can't just put it on shirts.
Correct.
So, but it's just a very interesting story that came out of some of the history of Louisville street art. Another really big street artist, Tubuck, and he's actually done, or
R.I.P.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little more. But he did. He's done art, I guess, all over the world. Really, he's been everywhere. Like New York City. I think he had some. He obviously has some here. He has quite a lot. And So back in 2015, he was in Puerto Rico and was struck by a car. He was running from law enforcement with friends while he was painting a mural with friends, and passed away November 23rd, 2015. Owner of Identity Customs said his influence was international. He was big in Detroit, New York City, pretty much all over. And for some kid out of Louisville, that's crazy. I don't think he even knew how big he was. Said he had worked with him before, and when McLeod and the owner of Spinelli's Pizzeria heard that Brown's family couldn't afford to bring his body back to the U.S., they knew they had to do something. So they had a little memorial for him at Spinelli's and a art show at Identity Customs, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Raise some money to help them out. Because again, you mentioned Spinelli's earlier, and like you said, the building's always had street art on it.
Right, and you can see $2 tags right there behind it too.
Yeah. So really, really sad story. But when you read through it, I think one thing that's awesome is, so the owner of Spinelli's, it says the owner does his best to support the Louisville graffiti scene by hosting graffiti-centric art shows and allowing some artists to spray paint the walls of his businesses. But he said that the city would be smart to do more to encourage the scene by allowing them to paint murals downtown or by creating a free wall. A free wall, also known as a legal wall, is a place where graffiti artists are free to come and practice their art form without the threat of arrest or hefty fines by the police. The theory is that with the number of free walls in the city, artists wouldn't need to practice their art form illegally. He said public walls are public walls, and it's a shame the city doesn't allow these artists to do more. And when people don't have to worry about being chased by cops or getting hurt, they can do some great work. So, again, we don't advocate, vandalism or illegal street art, but I think that whole concept of a free wall is really cool.
Yeah, definitely very thankful of them for giving people that space. I got I actually have the tattoo on my wrist. It's that I got from inspiration from one of the street arts in front of Spinelli, or what, it was a sticker, I guess, or a stencil on the side of a trash can. On one of their trash cans, it's a little heart with a greater than sign and a dollar sign. Mm-hmm. So I got that. Like, I would have never gotten that if I didn't see that art right there, or that right there in front of me, to be inspired by.
Yeah, exactly. And
thank you, Spinelli's.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, when you go in there and there's like art everywhere, the way they've done the whole place. And I mean, Burt Reynolds, dude, Burt Reynolds. It's just a sad story again by, about an amazing artist from here. However, moving to the more positive side of street art, this is an article about a local company, called Often Seen, Rarely Spoken. It's a group of muralists who work together on various pieces. And they're based here, I think at this point. This is an old article, it's from 2018, but they talk to some of the owners, and they end up saying, when there's 4 people or when there's a group involved, there really is no blockage. You don't have like a writer's block or artist block or anything when you have more people involved in it, which I think is a really cool idea and concept. And so they just formed this whole business, Often Seen, Rarely Spoken. They quit their main jobs and came together to do this. And you can see some of the art there, and it's pretty amazing. OSRS is a mural company and art collective that specializes in large-scale projects. Based in Kentucky, we have completed more than 200 unique projects in a dozen states. From idea to design, then install day, we help our partners realize their creative visions with our artistic approach. So, if you own a business and you're interested in getting a mural or, having them do a painted sign, definitely reach out to them. They do some amazing, amazing things. What's up, everybody? We just wanted to take a quick pause and say, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop us a couple comments. Let us know what you like, what you don't, and let us know what you think about the video. And make sure to share out with your friends and family. It really helps us a lot.
Yeah, we're on every social media platform. We're on every podcast provider out there. So whenever you get a chance, just give us a like, give us a follow. We definitely appreciate it. It really help us out.
And with that, we'll get right back to it.
Yeah.
And they've worked with some really cool people. They've worked with the zoo, Norton Children's Hospital, Louisville City. That's the soccer team, right?
Yeah.
Jack Harlow.
PBR.
Oh, yeah. Mile Wide Beer Company. I think I've been to that brewery. JCTC. Pretty cool. Twin Spires. I mean, that's just Churchill Downs, right? So,
the Galt House.
Kroger, Red Bull, Mercury Ballroom. So home of the Innocents. That's really cool. So they've worked with some really amazing people. So it's really cool that they're able to do this full time.
Home Skate Shop, which we talked about.
We did talk about them, didn't we? Rainbow Blossom. I know people who I've never been there, but I know people who love it.
I used to get herbs from there.
Live Nation, Kawasaki. That's probably the motorcycle one you can see in here somewhere. But yeah, really, really cool. Awesome company. They sound like great people. So if you're looking to get a mural or any kind of hand-painted sign work done, they do a lot of different stuff.
Or if you're an artist and you need work, I mean, it looks like they might be hiring.
Who knows? And get in with some good people. So that kind of leads us into this little article from Lost Between the Pages that just has some really cool, some of the better, or not better, some of the, I guess, more known murals around Louisville. And this one was really cool because you got the Slugger, you have in the S and the V, you have the Big Four Bridge, and the I and the L, you have the Cardinals, and then the L and the E, you have the Twin Spires. But I also think it's funny how they started the whole article with how to say Louisville, or like the different pronunciations. Like there's people who say Louisville, Louisville, depending on which Louisville you're from, I guess, in the country, and then Louisville. And
the right way.
That's us right there, exactly. So there's some really cool. What else I really liked about this article was that it shows you the location of where they're at, so you could go see these yourself if you were so inclined. Going back to that tourism aspect. I'm just going to kind of scroll through here because it'd be hard to describe all of them, but I mean, that one's pretty crazy. By the Art Cartel. What is that? Like a raven holding an ink pen.
Yeah, it reminds me of like, what is it?
Edgar Allan Poe style. That guy. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Some different mosaics you'll see through here. This is a sign, actually. It says "To the top, please," and it's on side of, is that Able Elevator? I'm not sure, but it's done by the company we were just talking about, Often Seen, Rarely Spoken. So, pretty cool. Bakery has like donuts on it. Just that one by the Millwood Art Center, that's one you see all the time. That's a really cool one. The horses, naturally. Just some really awesome stuff. And then there's actually a Instagram page that features quite a few as well. Some of them you have to actually click on and scroll through. Some of them is just one photo, but this is Louisville Murals Instagram. And so there's the astronaut, there's Einstein.
Trippy Einstein.
Yeah. Just some pretty cool things to see here. That one that was on the back of Spinelli. Speaking of Spinelli's, this is on like the side of the back building, like right behind Spinelli's. You can actually see it on Google Street Art, and then look, there's Burr and Two Buck. Right. Yep. So really cool. There's a ton of stuff in just so many. There's Burt Reynolds from inside Spinelli's, and then Muhammad Ali. That Biggie? No. Thought that was Biggie for a second. But then Hunter S. Thompson. I mean, and it's funny, we were talking about this before the show because we knew we had seen a Hunter S. Thompson mural around the city, right? And both of us were picturing one specific thing. This is not what we were picturing.
No,
but we can't find the one we thought of. It's like you said, what,
the Mandela effect, right?
Exactly.
Like we remember a Hunter S. Thompson portrait, but it didn't look like that.
Like I don't remember it having the side view mirror look to it.
No,
you know what I mean? I thought that it was just kind of like turned around in the car, but I don't know.
And it might be something where I've seen like a famous Hunter S. Thompson one that's somewhere else, and I just thought it was here.
Yeah. But either way, it's pretty cool that, you know, like that goes back to me saying it's almost like the hometown heroes thing. Definitely. Seeing different people, you know, got Muhammad Ali, you got Hunter S. Thompson. I'm sure there's more. And then of course having Burr and $2 stuff everywhere, you know, just a very similar effect in my mind. But definitely some cool stuff. Definitely check that out if you're interested in any of the murals. Some of them do have locations and artists tagged as well. Some of the various Muhammad Ali murals downtown. Some of these are pretty wild and very, very creative and well done. And one thing that's cool is this one has locations as well. So 6th Street and River Road, Preston Street, Bardstown Road, of course.
That's cool.
There's also
they got like a little Kentucky Rushmore up there with Abraham Lincoln, and it looks like the Colonel
and a horse. So that's the 4. You got Muhammad Ali, Abraham Lincoln, Colonel Sanders, and a horse.
Dude. Hey, I think Kentucky Rushmore could beat like almost any state at that point, dude. Like,
yeah, I agree. That's amazing. So this is one. It represents the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee saying. It's got basically a little angel. It's got a halo, boxing gloves, and then butterfly wing and a set of bee wings. It's at agave and rye, apparently. I wish this one listed the artist. Maybe they don't know. But 300 South 3rd Street. This one's kind of cool because you have the Belle of Louisville. You got Muhammad Ali and Churchill Downs race. But yeah. So again, you could easily, if you're stopping in Louisville.
So in that one kind of reminds me of, we were talking about them earlier. That almost reminds me of Shepherd Ferry.
Okay.
That's a very similar like filter that he used for the Barack Obama. Hope. Yep, there he is actually. Wait, he did that?
Apparently.
Yeah, okay, so Shepherd Ferry did a Muhammad Ali, it looks like, over there at the Russell neighborhood. Inspired by the Barack Obama Hope campaign that he did.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And it says it was to encapsulate one of Ali's life ideals, everyone helps everyone. So, yeah, definitely if you're in Louisville and maybe you don't have time to, you know, go to all the museums and stuff, or don't have money to go to all the museums, downtown Louisville is almost like a free museum, you know, a free art museum, really if you know where to look. And so between these few resources, you can also just Google Louisville murals and you'll find several articles. So it's really awesome. If you're into art, especially street art, definitely make sure to check out some of these places. And again, it's not just Louisville. Lexington has quite a few of their own. Some pretty awesome ones, from a giant pink horse, you know, birds, bees, butterflies, flowers.
Keep the springtime vibe all year long. I like that.
Absolutely, dude. That's a pretty interesting visual of Abraham Lincoln. Oh, man. Louis Armstrong. What a wonderful world. Yeah, some really cool ones in Lexington too. Definitely, I guess if I'm ever in Lexington, that might be something that I would be interested in doing. Kentucky Wildcuts, so I guess that's on the side of a barber shop, but it's a wildcat. That's kind of clever. And then even Bowling Green apparently has a list of their own murals, so that's pretty cool. And this is the visit bgky.com, so .com for Bowling Green, Kentucky. So, and it has the various locations as well. Some pretty cool stuff there. Which I don't know really anything about Bowling Green. I don't know that I've really spent much time there. But it looks like one major artist did a lot of these. Andy Rudliff. At least the last 3 of them there. And then there's another one. Quite a few. A lot of them by the same person. So it's just cool that businesses are getting out of this, strict brick and mortar look and actually letting people decorate their building, because it does a lot to help the artists. It, gets the name out there. It gets them business, especially if somebody's driving by it every single day. All it has to do is catch their attention once, and it brings a little bit of publicity and potentially commissions.
Yeah, it's a win-win all around.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's going to get people to come in. People are going to be like, oh, what's that building? Just because it looks a lot brighter. It's not just a plain brick and mortar building.
Definitely more appealing. Welcoming.
Yeah. And then this is kind of a cool Reddit post. This is from just 9 months ago. But apparently around Highland, Smoketown, downtown area, somebody's been just kind of putting up these little signs that are kind of just silly, almost in a way. It says ring package for delivery. Don't really understand that one. Blobfest admission free, and it's just like a sign in the middle of a field, it looks like. I like you too. We should be trends. But yeah, just some various art on just plywood. I don't know if these are boarded up windows and doors. Some of them anyways. I don't know. But they kind of caught our eye when we were just kind of searching for various Louisville street art.
Yeah, I think they have the artist's name down there somewhere. It was... Where'd it go?
In the comments. Artist is it as it were.
Is it were? As it were.
As it were. I had a gallery opening a couple months ago. So I love Reddit, man. You can find out so much. He's got an Instagram. Oh.
Transmission alert canceled until further notice. Disturbing transmission alert.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a fun thing, again, which is why that's really the point of art in the first place, right? Going back to that very, very first Reddit article we looked at, and what the one guy said is not everyone has the money for an Xbox. Try to remember there are kids out there not receiving the attention they need and have no other available outlets to work out their world perspective. So they find something fun, exciting, free, and most importantly, a way to find some control in their lives and express their feelings. And I think that's a perfect definition of just art in general.
Yeah, it's so much better than a McDonald's advertisement,
Absolutely.
Here's some food that's, going to make you sick, isn't the healthiest or whatever, isn't the cheapest. And
yeah,
versus something like this that's showing you something that makes you think.
Yeah. And so the last real article we have to look at is somebody posted on Reddit 10 months ago asking for graffiti spots in Louisville or Southern Indiana. Somebody wanted to, I guess, take pictures. So, and apparently there was a $2 invitational near Logan Street at the time. I tried to go to the website and it wasn't loading for me. So,
but it does look like it's a yearly thing. Like they started, I think, right after he passed. So,
which was 2015, late 2015.
Yeah, so they've just been doing it yearly since, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and it is cool to see this many responses to this request, instead of just seeing people say, giving a poor attitude towards graffiti or street art, because this person specifically said graffiti spots. There's actually quite a few responses here that are actually being helpful, which is pretty cool.
Train tracks, skate park.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, man, I can't imagine ever seeing a skate park that doesn't have a ton of graffiti and street art on it. You know what I mean? It would almost take away from the appeal. I'm not a skater anyways, but it still doesn't seem right. And then, so with all that being said, again, we don't advocate or, support the vandalism side of the street art. And along the same lines of the free wall thing that the owner of Spinelli's was talking about in one of those previous articles, Louisville actually does have a festival coming up in October. I think it's pronounced Via Calori. It's a street painting festival. And it's really cool because it's put on by the Girl Scouts of Kentuckiana. And they have some amazing artists. They have like a couple hundred artists who do some amazing things, various ages. And it's October 19th and 20th this year. And this is the 16th annual one for here in Kentucky. And I think they were in like E-Town first maybe, but just after a couple years they grew so big, now they go to the waterfront park. So if you haven't heard of it, definitely check them out. They do all kinds of cool stuff. Some really cool art that they put on. You can sponsor an artist. You can help volunteer. They do different kids activities. And I think they even do a STEM zone. So, it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. They have a whole STEM zone as well. So, really cool thing. I think they use, pastel chalk, I think is what we read, to do it. So, it's not as permanent, which in my mind is just even cooler. People go and just spend their whole day just to make something that's going to wash away.
Right. Yeah, like it reminds you of almost like sandcastles or whatever. They're just building it. They know it's going to go away, but it's just the thought they're putting into it. It's really awesome.
Yeah. And so when you scroll through the site, you can see some of the different things people have done over the years. I was trying to find some other ones, but yeah, you can see they have tons of artists. All these are just different artists. It's got to be a couple hundred of them at this point.
Right, and I guess this year they have more artists, I think, than ever.
Yeah.
So it's just like the other, just getting bigger and bigger.
Cat. Okay. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. They've grown a lot. And it's just an awesome way to support artists and art and street art and creativity. But again, along the lines of that free wall thing, they can come and do it, and it's sponsored by the city and tons of major companies around the city. So,
all right, and there's still time to sponsor an artist, it looks like.
Yeah, because they do, because it's kind of a fundraiser for the Girl Scouts of Kentuckiana, I think. Show your support for both the arts and the mission of Girl Scouts of Kentuckiana. You can sponsor 3 different, basically plot sizes for them to decorate. So you don't have to have a specific artist in mind. They will match you with an artist. You just got to get in touch with them. But really cool thing. Yeah, I moved to Louisville in 2017 and found a home at the Big 4 Bridge Lawn. So the festival itself began in 1994 in Florida. That's wild. And they've been held in 14 cities across the country. So again, whether you're an artist, you want to support an artist, or you just need something to do on October 19th and 20th, definitely make sure to check them out. We just thought it kind of fit along pretty well with the whole topic and theme of the show, being street art. And, you know, there really is a ton of amazing artists here in the city. So,
yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, I guess with that, you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think that covers it.
We definitely talked about a lot. It was a fun one, though. I love seeing all those. Like, of course, I've seen some of those murals and, you know, like Burr and stuff, but it was cool to see them again and talk about them and kind of just talk about the topic in general and the two sides to it. So I guess with that, we will catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down.
I am the greatest. He'll fall an ace to prove that I'm great. And if he keeps talking jive, I'm gonna cut it to 5.